Hi there, it is Tuesday. It is December 9th, and I've got your headlines, a shit show, and a conversation with one of the best people to talk to about all of the things that we discuss here on the show, all of the important things and everything else. It's our friend Wajahat Ali, who I haven't talked to in about a month because he's so busy talking to all the biggest, most influential, smartest, most credible people out there on a wide range of important issues. He's really found his footing here in this new media atmosphere. So I was happy to get some time with him today, and I think you're going to love our conversation. As always, if you want to jump to it, you can. It begins at 45 minutes. But coming up, it's headlines and clips. First, want to thank you. Thank you for your support here on the show. If you're a paid subscriber, I can't do it without you. Longtime subscriber just upgraded his pledge significantly, and I really appreciated it. It is so motivating to see new paid subscriptions come in, and it's always amazing when people decide they want to pay more. I thank you very, very much. You know who you are. And if you're not signed up or you want to pay more, patreon.com/Pete Dominic. You can also get a paid subscription over at Substack if you want, but please subscribe there as well. And YouTube and Substack at Stand Up with Pete. Those are two of the platforms I go live with my guests almost every day, sometimes more than once a day. So subscribe to those as well. And okay, here we go. Let's get to those headlines that I've gathered for you. And remember, these are the aberrations. These are the bad things. That's why they are news. Infinite amounts of acts of love and kindness are happening all day, every day. Go out and commit a few yourself. I will try as well. Okay, so now we've got to get to those headlines, starting in London, where the Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky found himself flanked by senior European leaders who presented a unified image after the madman in charge here, Genghis Khan man, I'll call him, appeared to criticize the Ukrainian leader amid pressure from Kiev to accept painful concessions to end the war in Russia. Flanked by the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom at the British Prime Minister's office in Downing Street in London, Zelensky said unity between Ukraine, the U.S., and Europe was paramount. That's the New York Times reporting that, as well as this about the Supreme Court. Yesterday, there were arguments heard. The outcome appears inevitable, whether or not the presidents of the United States have the power to fire heads of independent federal agencies and whether to overturn a 1935 precedent that has bolstered protections from removal for almost a century. The court's forthcoming ruling, the case is called Trump versus Slaughter, how about that, carries dramatic implications for the modern workings of government. Justice Sonia Sotomayor said yesterday that the administration wants to destroy these standards and precedents. That does not sound good. We'll have to talk to the legal eagle about that soon. Yesterday, we found out also that the FBI and Attorney General Pam Bondi, they're making an enemies list, a list of American, quote, extremists. Leaked memo has revealed. That's right, Pam Bondi ordering the FBI to compile a list of groups or entities engaging in acts that may constitute domestic terrorism. The target is those expressing opposition to law and immigration enforcement, extreme views in favor of mass migration and open borders, adherence to radical gender ideology, as well as anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity. Well, please put me on your list, Pam. It would be an honor. The people who get put on that list are going to benefit from it in the long run, is my guess. It's only going to make them more well-known. So, yeah, add me to the list so more people will come discover the work I'm doing every day here at Stand Up to Stand Up. Now that everybody else is standing up. I've been standing up since 2010. 2008, really. All right, so also want to mention the New York Times reporting of the hostile takeover bid of Warner Brothers Discovery. So it was supposed to be Netflix was getting Warner Brothers. They were going to be in agreement. But Paramount announced yesterday that it was attempting what's called a hostile takeover, where they're hoping to persuade the shareholders of Warner Brothers to defy the company's leaders and sell the business to him instead of Netflix. Of course, this is David Ellison, who's in Trumplandia to a certain extent, and Jared Kushner apparently is involved. The president is saying, I don't know, I have no involvement, although he said he would have involvement. Doesn't matter. Paramount said it would pay $30 per share for control of the entire company, valuing Warner Brothers at around $108 billion. Netflix deal, which wouldn't include CNN and other cable channels, valued the business at roughly $83 billion. Paramount also suggested that Netflix's bid would have a difficult time gaining the approval of federal regulators. I wonder why. I wonder why they'll have such a hard time getting the approval of federal regulators. Such regulators are supposed to operate at arm's length from politicians, but in an unusual move, they say that Orange Julius Caesar said he would be personally involved in the decision over who can buy Warner Brothers. Further complicating the matters, Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, is one of the investors listed as part of Paramount's bid. There you go. So that should be an interesting deal to watch go in the favor of the family. Well, it was a year ago yesterday that rebels in Syria overthrew President Bashar al-Assad, put an end to the family's decades-long tyrannical rule, because, of course, his dad was the leader before. Yesterday in Damascus, tens of thousands of people were celebrating the first anniversary of al-Assad's fall. It was a joyous occasion with fireworks, parades, dances. Great picture in the New York Times, who also talked to people on the ground. Done really good reporting on the aftermath, and they said that a lot of his Syrians are still concerned about the path forward, but there's no doubt that things have changed for the better there. So, man, what a horrible, horrible decades and decades of horror in that country. And really, I think that's where my answers come from. And so I think about that. And I don't say prayers, but I do spend a lot of time thinking about those people and what they must have gone through. All right. Now let's move on to another interesting story. I had no idea about this. You can play the slots on your phone. Don't do it. Don't gamble even, I say. I think I've never gambled. I mean, I've gambled a few times, enough to know that I do not want to lose my hard-earned money. First time I ever played Vegas years ago, the Rio, I don't want to brag, and I think I got $1,200 for the week. And every night we did 2 shows. It was ridiculous. $100 a show. It was nothing. And I would walk from the showroom back to my hotel room through the game room, all the gaming. I remember thinking I could have lost that whole paycheck with one game or a few games. And I'm real glad I didn't. And the way I didn't was I remember thinking, if I put chips on the table, I imagined them being diapers because Ava was a baby. And I was like, yeah, no, you can't have her diapers. I'm going to keep this paycheck. Plus, my ex-wife would have murdered me if I didn't come home with that money. That was another motivator and the right thing. Anyway, don't gamble is the point of that anecdote, because nearly 40 states have legalized sports betting over the last decade. But they say that's not where the big money is, at least not for the states. Online casinos that allow you to play slot machines directly from your phone have proved to be a much stronger source of revenue. In Pennsylvania, which approved both online casinos and sports betting in 2017, they say that more than $1 billion a year is coming in from these digital casinos, but less than $200 million from sports betting. Nope, it's digital slots, currently legal in 7 states, and that is a bad thing. I say don't play them. And now this about the Catholic Church. In New York, the Roman Catholic Archdiocese said that it is raising at least $300 million as it has moved to finally negotiate a settlement that would benefit roughly 1,300 people who have said they were sexually abused as minors by its priests and lay staff members. The Archdiocese of New York said it had agreed with representatives of the accusers on a mediator, and it had begun to raise money by cutting costs and selling assets, including its headquarters and other real estate. A lawyer who represents 300 people who have filed abuse claims against the Archdiocese said that they had taken a step in the right direction, but cautioned the matter was far from settled. There's no agreement. And all he said, what we have is a proposal for a process by which you go into mediation. But he added, this is the first time the Archdiocese has shown willingness to engage in any kind of process to bring all of this toward resolution. I mean, it is so hard for me to think and talk about the Catholic Church. It's so hard for me to even accept that people, many of you, I know, listen, are still members or attend or give money to the church. I have such a hard time with it because not only the pedophilia scandal, which has lasted generations, but also just because the fact that my daughter can't be a leader in the church. And so I never brought her in the building voluntarily. But we did get her baptized, even against my wishes. But when I found out they were going to give us like €2,000, I was like, hypocrite. Anyway, the New York Times reporting that Russian spies are posing as diplomats in Mexico. Why? Well, they're targeting the U.S., but Mexican officials have refused to kick them out. Oh, that's going to be a problem, I think. Or not. Mexicans are allowing Russian spies to hang out in Mexico. It sounds good. And let's see. This file this under cruelty for the sake of cruelty, says Steve Bannon at Mad Owl Blog. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services quietly altered the official portrait of Admiral Rachel Levine, the first openly transgender person confirmed to a 4-star federal position, replacing her legal name with her dead name and digitalizing her picture. The portrait, which had hung alongside previous public health service leaders, had been a visible symbol of historic representation in federal leadership, and now it's not. Wow. Cruelty for the sake of cruelty. Just so gross. So gross, the cruelty, too. It never ceases to amaze how horrifying what they believe and what they do seems to be every day. And that's we struggle with that together. Airline industry lobbyists have racked up some wins with the administration, the regime, because, you know, Trump and the administration love white-collar criminals. So on Friday, they said they would waive the $11 million fine levied against Southwest Airlines over the company's 2022 holiday travel meltdown when the airline canceled nearly 17,000 flights around Christmas during a period of severe weather. So now they don't have to pay that $11 million anymore. And finally, this. I think this is good news. Here you go. I like to end on good news. The Institute of Museum and Library Services has won a round. The federal agency that supports the nation's libraries has restored thousands of grants canceled by the Trump administration following a federal judge's ruling that the executive order mandating the cuts was unlawful. So those are the headlines I've got for you today. And now it's time to get to the clips. All right. Many of you don't like Jake Tapper. I've lost a lot of respect for him as well. But I have nuanced, wide-ranging opinions on different commentators and outlets. And I think when they do good work, when there's a good report, or in this case, when there's simply a well-researched and reported litany of mentions or issues here aggregated together, the way his producers help him do, I'll play it. There you go. And my voice cracked. I think my voice cracked. But here's Jake Tapper with a very important list of things wars that have not been solved by his holiness.
These are the 8 wars that Trump claimed to have ended during his address to the United Nations this fall. Let's take a look at each one of them. Number 1, Cambodia and Thailand. This was a 5-day armed conflict that ended with a ceasefire agreement in July. Today, Thailand launched airstrikes against Cambodia. Thailand's army says the strikes were in retaliation for an attack that killed the Thai soldier. Number 2, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. On Thursday, at the newly christened Donald J. Trump United States Institute of Peace, the president participated in a signing ceremony for a peace agreement with the leaders, the presidents of both countries. That war has continued, however, in part because Thursday's deal was never signed by the leading rebel coalition that's actually doing most of the fighting. And just today, a bomb explosion killed more than 30 people in eastern Congo. War number 3, Ethiopia and Egypt. This is not actually a war. It's a long-running diplomatic dispute about a major Ethiopian dam project on the Nile. War number 4, Serbia and Kosovo. This is another supposed war that didn't actually occur during Trump's presidency. Number 5, Israel and Hamas. The situation in Gaza right now is tenuous. Attacks there have continued since the October ceasefire deal. War number 6, Israel and Iran. This too was a truly hot war, both countries launching missiles against each other for 12 days this June. Number 7, India and Pakistan. This conflict heated up after a terrorist attack in April. It led to days of drone and missile strikes. The Indian government has denied that the U.S. played a role in negotiating the ceasefire. That's number 8, Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's a conflict that goes back decades. In August, the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan met at the White House with President Trump. They signed a declaration to seek peace. But importantly, a final peace agreement has yet to happen.
Yeah, well done, Tapper. Now let's move on to more reactions and activism out of Minnesota, Minneapolis, for the attack that they have been the unfortunate target of from our madman Con Juan, Count Flatula. And so here is first Reverend Paul Graham. He's a Lutheran minister, and I really like what he had to say here, which is not something I usually say about Lutheran ministers, although I don't pay a lot of attention to them either. Anyway, this one might only come in your right ear for some reason. I don't know if you're wearing headphones. It's just the way it was recorded, but it's worth it. Here he is.
I want to be really, really clear. This hateful rhetoric is a direct violation of the Christian faith. Christian teaching could not be more clear. My faith teaches that all people, are created in the image of God. Jesus commands us to love our neighbors. This is the beating heart of our faith traditions. No human being is garbage. No human being is garbage, Mr. President, and shame on you for saying so. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke those hateful words. The Somali community in Minnesota are our neighbors, brothers and sisters, children of God, fellow Americans. So I wanted to today add my voice to the growing number of voices of people all across Minnesota and all across the U.S. who are saying no to these racist lies being spread by the current administration. I am deeply disturbed. I am deeply troubled, and I am angry. I am angry because dehumanizing rhetoric, this hateful rhetoric that we're hearing, such as we have heard from the current administration, leads to violence and injustice. It spreads fear and it spreads harm. I don't want that in Minneapolis. I don't want that in St. Paul. I don't want that anywhere. Do we want people, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, the ones Jesus tells us to love, abused and attacked and harassed by masked federal agents in horrifying displays of cruelty? No. Do we want people, our fellow Americans, fellow citizens, kidnapped off our streets? No. Do we want families broken up? No. Do we want people living in fear? No. No? Then it's time for a gut check for everyone in Minnesota. Because love is an action.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm going to take that. Love is an action. I'm putting that on a Post-it note or an index card, keeping it right in my line of sight, like a lot of other sayings and quotes. I do that a lot around these parts. All right, moving on. Here is the Attorney General of Minnesota. His name is Keith Ellison, and he was talking to our friend Dean Obeidallah on his SiriusXM show.
This lie that they're perpetuating is that somehow some individuals who happen to be of various racial groups, some of whom were Somali, but they were white, they were black, they were Latino, they were everything, but some were Somali, got caught up in some fraud. I can tell you as a prosecutor that the people who do that run the rainbow, man. Mm-hmm. You know, Bernie Madoff, he's a white fraudster. Right. You know, they run the rainbow, but he's trying to say that then they use this money to then fund Al-Shabaab. And there literally is no evidence of this. There's no evidence. It is a naked allegation, unsupported by any facts I've ever seen. You know why these individuals who committed fraud did it? To get rich, to buy houses. And, you know, what we do know is they bought houses and cars and crap like that. Yeah. But again, the leader of the whole thing was a woman named Amy Bach, white woman, blonde hair, blue eye, white lady.
Well, there you go. There's the Attorney General of Minnesota talking about that case. And now let's go to a Somali American former Trump supporter who was on CNN yesterday with Victor Blackwell.
Salman Fiki, he was at this July 2024 rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can see him at this event with Minnesota Somali leaders giving their endorsement in November of last year. You posted on social media, I, Salman Fiki, am formally announcing that I'm ending all collaboration with the Republican Party.
It was very dehumanizing and is very unpresidential coming from the commander-in-chief of the United States. to dehumanize and to dehumanize a whole entire community by calling them garbage.
Do you regret your vote for President Trump?
No, I don't regret my vote. I have conservative values, and I see politics through that lens.
All right. Well, thought that was interesting and worth sharing with you. So let's see if that matters at all. He doesn't care about his Somali American Trump supporters. He doesn't actually care about any of his supporters or anyone else, obviously. Nicole Wallace made a point of this to a certain extent when she listed off the sick comments that he has made to female reporters over, I think, just the last couple of weeks alone.
He called ABC's Rachel Scott today, quote, obnoxious and terrible. December 6th, he called Caitlin Collins, quote, stupid and nasty. On November 27th, he said, are you stupid? To CBS journalist Nancy Cortez. On November 26th, he called the New York Times' Katie Rogers, quote, ugly. On November 18th, he called ABC's Mary Bruce terrible and insubordinate, to whom I'm not sure. November 14th, he told a Bloomberg reporter, quote, quiet piggy. This is sick shit. This is sick. And anyone in the room is in the room to do a job for their viewers or their readers. But they should go home tonight and think about whether their sisters or their daughters or their moms or their sons or their husbands or their fathers think that there's something else they should do the next time he calls a female journalist obnoxious, terrible, stupid, nasty, stupid, ugly, terrible, insubordinate, or piggy. Because maybe if Donald Trump can't live without being on TV, and maybe if they said, you know what, we're going to have some solidarity like they did with him wanting to change the names of oceans. I mean, we're either going to normalize this, and then you're going to hear all sorts of prominent people calling women all sorts of names. I'm sure by the time I get off TV, I'll have a few of those myself. But we're either going to normalize this and usher in an era of unprecedented misogyny, or that press corps is going to act as one and say no more.
Well, there you go. There you go. Nicole Wallace. I thought that was a good list, and she read it well, so I shared it. Here's Gavin Newsom doing some interviews, saying some things about stuff. I liked it. I like what he had to say. I think I need to see more action. But, hey, he did do Prop 50. That's a pretty big deal.
It's not good enough to win an argument anymore. These guys, we're trying to still debate something. Mm-hmm. These guys are consolidating power. We'll have a country that's unrecognizable. So this notion about accountability, this notion about co-equal branches of government, this notion of popular sovereignty are very precious. And so our approach in terms of what we did with Prop 50, that was our mindset. We said we're going to fight fire with fire. We're not going to moralize this. We're not going to write an op-ed. We're not going to talk about the way the world should be. We're not going to say it's just unfair. Yeah. We have agency. We can shape the future. And I think long-windedly, that's the point. We have agency. Yeah. We can shape the future. We're not victims to this as long as we stand up and for something. And that's what I'm telling all of these leaders. Get off your knees and stand up and fight for something.
There it is again. Hey, there it is again. Stand up. Huh. Who is doing that first? Okay, let's go to first. What? Let's go to Jasmine Crockett. Yesterday, the Congresswoman, our queen, she announced that she would be running for Senate in Texas. And as a result, Colin Allred, who is also running, has decided to drop out. And James Tallarico, who is also running, state Texas congressman, they know each other from working in the state legislature, of course. He sent out a very nice Tallarico-like message welcoming her to the race. Her ad that she put out was just her with a voiceover of all the insults that have come from El Pork Chapo over the years. And then she turns towards camera at the very end with his last insult, and she just smiles. And right-wingers were having a field day with that, making fun of it. They thought it was a bad ad. But I think the rest of us got it, heard it a lot differently. Anyway, here is Jasmine Crockett at her announcement press conference yesterday after the ad came out. She made it official.
Well, I'm done with politics as usual. I'm done with going along to get along, and it gets us nowhere. I'm done watching rural hospitals and public schools close their doors. I'm done watching parents be afraid to send their kids to school or the mall or the movies because Republicans have flooded our streets with guns. I'm done with the senators sitting around doing nothing while Trump takes your hard-earned money, skims your Social Security, slashes Medicare, and gives tax breaks to billionaires. I'm done. I'm done watching the American dream on life support while Trump tries to pull the plug. The gloves have been off, and now I'm jumping into the ring. I'm asking for your support to be the next United States Senator from the greatest state of Texas.
I don't know why that was also in just maybe your right ear or right speaker if you noticed it. Sorry about that. But there you go, Jasmine Crockett. I thought that was great. I'm fired up. And here's James Tallarico, who's already running, welcoming her to the race, which is so kind.
Hey, Team Tallarico. I just wanted to hop on here and record a quick video for y'all. Lots of news in the race today. On behalf of all of us, I want to welcome Congresswoman Crockett into the Democratic primary race. I chose to run for the honor of being your next U.S. Senator because working people deserve someone who knows how to fight and knows how to win in Washington. We always knew this was going to be hard, and I am so proud of what we've built so far. We've shattered grassroots fundraising numbers. We've built an infrastructure of 10,000 volunteers just like all of you who are already putting in the work to win in November. I am so proud of the community and the culture we've built here at Team Tallarico. We have always maintained that we are pro our campaign, not anti anyone else's. We will make the case for why we are best positioned to win this race in November and take power back for working people. But we will always treat Congresswoman Crockett with the utmost respect. She is my colleague and she is a leader in our state. She deserves nothing less. So now is the time. Please sign up to Phone Bank, send texts, learn how to host block walks. Let's go win this thing. Thank y'all.
All right. There you go. Should be an interesting race down there in Texas. Can Jasmine Crockett, can a woman win? Can a black woman win? Can a proud black woman win? You know, she's very outspoken and very real. And I think that upsets a lot of the whites, the El Blancos down there. But hey, and probably Hispanic voters as well. But you tell me, Texas folks, she thinks she's got a pathway, then, or else why is she running? Erin Burnett is out front on CNN every night. And she just had mentioned this ProPublica report, which I thought was worth sharing here in the clip show.
A report from ProPublica revealing 2 of Trump's own mortgages match his description of mortgage fraud. That's their headline, according to ProPublica's investigation. They write, quote, in 1993, Trump signed a mortgage for a Bermuda-style home in Palm Beach, Florida, pledging that it would be his principal residence. Just 7 weeks later, he got another mortgage for a 7-bedroom, marble-floored neighboring property, attesting that it, too, would be his principal residence. Instead, the 2 houses, which are next to his historic Mar-a-Lago estate, were used as investment properties and rented out. Now, Trump is not accused of committing mortgage fraud, but that ProPublica reporting in that scenario does sound kind of familiar, doesn't it? It sounds like the standard the president and his administration have used to go after his political enemies, including New York Attorney General Letitia James, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, and Democratic lawmakers Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell. And the person who helped launch those investigations, Bill Pulte, Trump's Federal Housing Finance Agency director. Here is what Pulte has said the administration's standard.
If somebody is claiming 2 primary residences, that is not appropriate, and we will refer it for criminal investigation.
That's Bill Pulte, who works in the administration. Real bad guy, very corrupt, but great reporting from ProPublica. And now I want to share with you this clip of Nick Fuentes on the Piers Morgan show. I know you're sighing right now, but even if you hate both these guys, this exchange, I don't know. You tell me if it was worth it after you hear it. StandUpWithPete@gmail.com. You can reach out and let me know. But I liked it a lot. I watched almost an hour of this interview.
Just to clear up one of the many theories about you, I've no idea what the answer is and you haven't got to answer. But are you actually attracted to women?
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay?
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
See, basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Oh man, what do you think of that? I don't think Nick Fuentes cares at all about what anybody thinks. That's what makes him dangerous. Terrible person. Very influential. I watched the whole interview. Super racist, super sexist, anti-Semitic, and he makes all these arguments that sound good to dumb people. Dumb, ignorant white people who haven't lived or traveled or read things. Anyway, let's get to some laughs, shall we? Jimmy Kimmel had plenty to say last night because the night before that at the Kennedy Center, Dictator Tot was giving him shit as always. And, well, here it is.
In Hollywood, the award season and the norovirus are officially upon us again. You know, we'll be handing out awards every weekend for the next 3 months here, starting this morning with the nominees for the Golden Globes. And last night, they handed out the Kennedy Center honors in Washington, hosted by Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the host of the show. He's been boasting about hosting, saying, we've never had a president host the Kennedy Center honors before, which, yeah, why do you think that is? We've also never had Neil Patrick Harris order a military strike on a fishing boat before. Trump was obviously very excited to headline this once prestigious event. He even waddled the red carpet where he was all fired up.
How have you prepared to host tonight?
Well, maybe I haven't prepared. Maybe you want to be a little bit loose. If you look at the great hosts, Johnny Carson, Bob Hope, those are the greats. If you look at the not-so-greats, like Jimmy Kimmel, he was terrible.
It's very hurtful. I thought we were friends. I don't know what's going on. He is really fixated. I'm starting to think he might have a crush on me.
But we never had a president hosting the awards before. This is the first. I'm sure they'll give me great reviews, right? You know, they'll say he was horrible. He was terrible. It was a horrible situation. No, we'll do fine. I've watched some of the people that host. Jimmy Kimmel was horrible. Some of these people, if I can't beat out Jimmy Kimmel in terms of talent, then I don't think I should be president.
Agreed. I'm with you. I don't think I've ever agreed with anything more than that.
Yeah, I love it. And Kimmel just re-signed, by the way. Got another year on his contract. So it's awesome. I love it. And here, let's head over to CBS with Stephen Colbert, who's supposed to be done there in May. I wonder if that'll change.
This year's Kennedy Center honor ceremony is the very first since Trump installed himself as chair of the Kennedy Center's board. I kind of agree. It seems like the commander-in-chief shouldn't have enough time to run a theater. Mr. President, Russia has just launched another round of missiles. But first, dress rehearsal for Oklahoma is underway. And the blocking is uninspired. Before last night's ceremony, Trump walked the red carpet and talked about his love of the arts.
You mentioned some of your favorite songs. In your opinion, what makes a song great?
Well, it's something that has to be soft and soothing to your ear. I like some songs that other people don't like, you know. That's why they have, you ever hear the expression, that's why they have menus in restaurants. We're all different.
The world's stupidest question answered by the world's hungriest man. What's my favorite thing about music? Probably restaurant. I love when a song has one of those big sizzling appetizer platters for the whole table to share. You don't touch the chorus, it's very hot. Can we get some more chips? We still have some more song left. We don't. At this point, I don't know how much effort I'm putting into the impression anymore. And I don't care. Yeah. Now, We don't have... Fire me. You always care. That's what I love about you. We don't have footage from the ceremony yet because it won't actually air until later this month. But we do have... This is an actual transcript of some of Trump's actual opening monologue to the Kennedy Center audience. If there was one thread that connects all of these amazing artists together, it's the word persistence. I can say that with a lot of members of our audience. I know so many of you, and you are persistent. Many of you are miserable, horrible people. But you are persistent. You never give up. Sometimes I wish you'd give up, but you don't. That man, that is a man who knows how to please a crowd. Am I right? The most miserable, horrible audience in the world? On Saturday, Trump talked about some of the other people who have hosted the Kennedy Center honors before him in the past, and he pre-complained about how people will judge his hosting.
I'm sure they'll give me great reviews, right? You know, they'll say he was horrible, he was terrible, it was a horrible situation. No, we'll do fine. I've watched some of the people that host. Jimmy Kimmel was horrible. Some of these people, if I can't beat out Jimmy Kimmel in terms of talent, then I don't think I should be president.
You can't and you shouldn't. Also,
all right, good stuff from Colbert. And finally, NBC's Seth Meyers with his monologue jokes. I like these, and I like to share them with you. I think his writers are probably... I liked his monologue. I don't know who I like the best. Kimmel, then Seth Meyers, then Colbert, the monologue jokes. What do you think? Do you watch? Do you care? Are you old like me?
President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump walked the red carpet together last night at the 48th Kennedy Center Honors, which, by the way, is all he ever wanted. He never wanted to be president. He just wants to wear a tux and walk red carpets. If someone would just lay down a circular red carpet somewhere, we would never hear from him again. While walking the red carpet last night ahead of the 48th Kennedy Center Honors, President Trump told reporters that he had done very little to prepare for hosting the event and added, quote, "You want to be a little bit loose. Don't think that'll be a problem. If you're anything, you're loose. You're so loose, you're basically coming apart at the seams." President Trump presented medals to the 2025 Kennedy Center honorees over the weekend in the Oval Office, or by the looks of them, in Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Look at them. It looks like the last call at an Eyes Wide Shut party. During the 2026 World Cup drawing ceremony last week, President Trump accepted the new FIFA Peace Prize, which featured a gold medal and trophy. Look at that. He couldn't get a Nobel Prize, so they made up a new Peace Prize just for him, and he still knows he doesn't deserve it. He looks like he's saying, "Can I have some of your fries?" That's right, President Trump was awarded the new FIFA Peace Prize, and I'm sorry, but that thing is evil. That's not a trophy. That's what gives Pinhead his powers. During the 2026 World Cup draw ceremony last week, President Trump said that the name of the sport soccer should be changed to football in the U.S., and pickleball should be changed to just literally anything else. During a cabinet meeting last week, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's name placard misspelled Secretary of War with 2 S's in secretary. But I'm sure after a couple of beers, that's just how he pronounces it. I'm a Secretary of War. The New York Times over the weekend released its list of the 67 most stylish people of the year, which includes Pope Leo. Great, now everyone's going to start dressing like that. Then a new law is set to take effect this week in Australia to keep children under 16 off social media, which means millions of children in Australia will finally put their phones down, go outside, get bit by something, and die. I should have given them an iPad! Pantone recently announced that its 2026 color of the year is Cloud Dancer, which it describes as a, quote, lofty white neutral, which is also how I describe Steve Kornacki.
All right, there you go, Seth Meyers on NBC, and that is the opening. That's the whole open. Wow, 40 minutes of headlines and clips. So you can always skip it. They give you that option if you just want to jump to the interview, but I put a lot into that segment every day. Most mornings, I'm up very early finishing it up. So I hope you like it, and I appreciate you being here for it. Now let's get to my guest. Time for Wajahat Ali. You can find him at wajali.com. That's his website. His book is Go Back to Where You Came From, and other helpful recommendations on how to become American. And you should subscribe to his Substack. The Left Hook is the name of that, and it's linked in the show notes, as is everything else. We love him here at Stand Up, and he has joined me many, many times over the years. He's a good friend of mine, and I hope that you are supporting his work. If you aren't already, go subscribe now. We caught up yesterday. We were both live on Substack and YouTube at Stand Up with Pete and at The Left Hook. And this is what our conversation sounded like. Waj is here, ladies and gentlemen. Are we live on all the things? Did it work?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Fellow Pete, the race trader who has helped the liberals and the Muslims and the Marxists and the gays take over America. We could not have done it without you, our mole who was inside the entire time. Thank you, sir. We could not have done it without you.
I don't like when you speak
our mole who was inside the entire
like
time.
That. I feel like you put an extra scary sound on it.
I put some phlegm in it. I put some extra 1991 Disney's Aladdin phlegm in it. To make it, both comforting and a bit unnerving.
That's exactly what it was. So how I felt. I felt uncomfortable and unnerved. Now, that I believe is Arabic, the thing you did. Is there a lot of dialects? Can you understand? How well do you speak?
Shwaya. I took it in college a bit. And, of course, you read the Quran, and so I know a little bit, but I can't speak it. My brother-in-law speaks it fluently. He's a Pakistani American. There are a majority of Muslims in America are not Arab, in fact. About 30% are black or African American, meaning black. They came from African countries, immigrants, or born and raised here. 25 to 30% South Asian, and 20% are Arab. In fact, most Arab Americans in the United States are Christian. So they're the good ones. Oh, but they're Arab. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was my people. My people were Arab Americans that escaped persecution, and they came here to be Catholics and marry Sicilians.
Oh, wonderful. So you actually then married back into some Moorish Muslim stock. Well done.
Yeah, like at some point you got to end.
You couldn't escape.
You got to end the cycle. You got to get it. You got to whiten it up a bit. Which is, we've got to save I was watching Nick Fuentes, and we've got to save. It's too watered down, I think.
So Nick Fuentes, for those who don't know, has been embraced fully by the right wing. He's a neo-Nazi, a person who said Hitler was based, anti-Semite, hate monger. And for the past couple of weeks, because the Groypers now represent the present and future of the GOP, I'm sure you've seen, he's just been feted and loved. There's just been easy interviews. Stephen Crowder, Katie Miller was asked to condemn him. She's Jewish, wife of Minnie Goebbels, Stephen Miller. She didn't. Don Jr. didn't. Donald Trump didn't. But our boy Piers Morgan, who has been inviting me last week and this week, actually got him to admit that he's a racist. I thought it was a pretty good interview. What'd you think?
Oh, I didn't watch that one. I watched.
Oh, you didn't see the clips?
I saw a couple of the clips. I saw them fighting. I watched him with Tucker Carlson, and I haven't talked to you in a month or something, but I've been calling it ever since that interview. I've been calling the kind of right-wing Americans, MAGA Americans, the hoods off movement, because he seems to have won the fight for their minds and hearts. But did Stephen Crowder interview Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, Stephen Crowder, I think, interviewed him yesterday. Complete softball interview. Says, "Are you an anti-Semite?" "I'm not." "Okay, glad that's cleared up." And he moved on. And it's so funny. Stephen Crowder, all these failed actors and comedians and MAGA. It's so funny. Yeah. Wasn't Stephen Crowder a voice of an animated figure? And then he went into the right-wing sphere.
Oh, I don't know. I remember that when he started out, he called himself a comedian, and that used to bother a lot of us. And my old friend Amy Schumer took him down on Fox News Red Eye by basically saying it's like, you calling yourself a comedian would be like me calling myself a fisherman because I fished once. And
but did you even? And no, it's a failed fisherman. It's like you fishing and not getting fish, but getting lead poisoning instead.
Well, regardless, Steven Crowder, all these people normalizing, recognizing Nick Fuentes. So since we're into it, where are you on describing the current state of the MAGA movement's ideology? Because they are split down. How would you describe the split? How do you characterize it? Do you think they are actually?
So let's just shit on Steven Crowder for a second, and I'll continue.
Sure.
He was also the voice of the brain in the Arthur cartoon, so I was right. And speaking about these terrible comedians, David Rubin, who I call David Rubles.
Oh, I know him well. I knew him at the beginning of his career. I advocated for him at SiriusXM. We were pretty good friends.
He was progressive, tried to be a comedian, apparently not funny, and then became an unsuspecting, allegedly, paid agent of Russian propaganda. That's where he got his money. Michael Knowles, failed actor, went to Yale, was the most convincing role he's ever had in my life is as a horny gay man having sex in the student movie House of Shades, which is available on YouTube. Yes, House of Shades, Michael Knowles, the anti-LGBTQ Catholic warrior.
Oh, that guy's a real piece of work.
You can see it on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
It's all projection with these folks, but what it is a fragile, losing mindset of white supremacy. The narrative is white supremacy. If you don't like the word white supremacy, use one word. They're racist, Pete. They have been racist ever since you had your SiriusXM show. You had me on. I said he's a racist president when he was running for the first time. I remember BBC NewsHour had me on, and I said that he's a white supremacist, and this is the death rattle of white supremacy. And you should have seen the face of the host. He goes, white supremacist.
I had that. I remember a similar moment where I had MSNBC's Katie Tur in studio. She was promoting a book, I think, of covering Trump the first.
I remember that. Yeah. That's what got her the show. The show.
And I called. I said he's a white supremacist, and she was appalled by my suggestion. And I was like, I remember I got into a bit of an argument with her. I was like, but you covered him. You don't think that that's the right characterization? And she's like, oh, I don't know why you think, but.
Racial trip up. Well, let's take the DeLorean back in time. He descends the staircase, which was not golden, bronze, and he announces his campaign for presidency by doing what? Calling Mexicans rapists and criminals.
Yeah.
Before that, he gets into the spotlight by being the main cheerleader of the both anti-black and Islamophobic birther conspiracy against our first black president. This is a man whose entire history is filled with racism. To this day, folks, these poor kids, there were kids, the Central Park Five, who are now the exonerated Five, he took out money in the New York Times to call for the death penalty. And because he's so vain, so weak, so fragile, can't ever admit that he's wrong, even after these poor men have been exonerated, he still says that they're guilty, folks. This is a man who then ran on the Muslim ban after he realized he was getting traction with Ben Carson. He took it over. Complete Taliban and Muslims coming in. Said Islam hates America. In his first Trump administration, remember he said, why do they come from shithole countries? Why can't they come from Norway? And then remember he led that chant, send them back, send them back. He was talking to AOC.
By the way, shithole countries comments were private and they leaked. And now it's a perfect distillation of the difference between Trump 1 and Trump 2, because he used to say those things in private. He also used to make all kinds of demands and give out all kinds of orders that were not carried out. Now he says things openly and the orders are being carried out. Like there's no stopping him.
It's a good memory because if you all recall when he said that, there were so many Democrats and Republicans in the room. I don't know if you remember. First, like, no, he didn't say that. There were a lot of Democrats. He said it. Then they're like, he didn't say shithole. He said shit house countries.
Oh, right.
Remember that? So I'm like, oh, what's the difference between a shithole and a shit house? A shit house has Wi-Fi. But they at least tried. There was like some shame. So this is who they've always been. Our 2018 midterm election. He's doing well. Economy's doing well, right? A normal, sane presidency would just run on the economy. Remember what he did? Remember midterm elections? Invasion, caravan, rapists, criminals. The same language that was used by terrorists. Robert Bowers, who went and killed 11 Jews at Tree of Life. Right at the same time, used the same exact language. Yep. Then they started at that time, they're like, oh, this is getting traction. So around that time, 2018 onward, they went all in with the neo-Nazi replacement theory, which is now mainstream, which they say that the rest of us are replacing them. So I'm taking us through this DeLorean trip because the rest of us, Pete, like you, have said this man is a racist. This man is capitalizing on racism and white supremacy and misogyny. All the data that came from the 2016 election said that the main reason, not the only reason, the main reason was not economic anxiety, the zombie narrative, cultural anxiety of them being replaced. And you heard for the entire past 10 years, it's not racism, it's a racial trip-up, racial flare-up, all these euphemisms. And it was so bad less than a week ago when on Tuesday he woke up from his slumber, because we haven't talked in a month. Remember, he was like, and Marco Rubio was next to him giving verbal fellatio, and he just fell asleep while the cameras were on. But then he gets up and goes, what?
Yes.
What? Somalis, I hate them. They're garbage people. Yep. And it was so bad. It was so bad that even the New York Times was like, all right, this was a bit xenophobic.
He even talks hatred in his sleep. He's like, so tired, garbage people, send them back. It's, by the way,
migrate, Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, I won't get it. Fine.
Afrikaners.
Peace Prize.
So sleepy. White Afrikaners only.
What more do you need? Speaking about white Afrikaners, I mean, it's a really good point that it's always been this way, but now there's no shame. In the Trump administration, folks, in the past month, they have limited the number of refugees that can come to America. It's the lowest it's been. So I think for Biden it was 175,000. Now it's 7,500. But, Pete, there's an exception. Can you tell people who the exception is for? Not Palestinians, not Afghans, not Iraqis, not Ukrainians. Can you tell them?
White Afrikaners with K. Extra K. 3 Ks.
3 Ks. 3 Ks.
3 Ks, please. Listen, he said that Somalis are garbage. And the thing is, he's garbage. He's a garbage person. I can't believe we have to wake up and deal with him and talk about him and think about him. But I wonder if we could just talk. I was talking to my friend Tim Wise, who if you haven't talked to, you got to have him on your Substack. Tim's the best. And he uses the word sadist to talk about the president and his supporters. And I think that is the perfect word. And so at this point, if you still support this person who's such a garbage person to everybody all the time, you're a sadist. You love to see other people suffering. That's who he is. You don't have to care. You have to know his politics. These boat assassinations make him now a murderer, and Hegseth and anybody else who carries out those orders, they're murderers because it's not a war crime because there's no war. But they are, and people like Megyn Kelly and his supporters, they love it. They love that they're blowing these people up because they think they're narco-terrorists. So I feel like sadism is probably one of the best words and ideas to zero in on for Trump and his supporters. How do you feel about that?
No, and Adam Serwer in the first Trump administration, right? The essay that went viral that really described them is cruelty is the point. And you're absolutely right. Sadism, the cruelty, they relish in the cruelty. They relish in the sadism. Folks, regardless of what you think, suppose you're against drug traffickers. Okay. These Venezuelan
suppose you're against drug. No, you don't need that. We're all against drug traffickers. You're like, suppose you don't like him. I myself,
don't know, but Pete, I thought Pete might like a drug trafficker or two, so I had to just clarify. I don't like the drug traffickers, but first and foremost,
you've never even had a drink.
First and foremost, it's true. I haven't. I have water though. Can you imagine if I drank? You know how unhinged I would be if I was actually doing drugs and alcohol. My God, that would be disturbing.
I think you should start drinking and smoking weed. I think you'd be a better person. But that's neither high nor there.
Neither there. I would probably become a trafficker. The thing is, and I can get pardoned. I just wear a MAGA hat.
There he is.
Trump would pardon me.
Oh, my God. Not only is it a narco-terrorist, it's also a Muslim. Blow him up with the biggest whatever. What do we have?
Yeah, what do we have? We have the mother of all bombs. We dropped it in Afghanistan. We're going to drop it on Warbalat. His name is Wajahat. Whatever. I'll just wear a MAGA hat. He'd be like, what? He's a Trump supporter. Never mind. Pardon. I pardon you.
Hold your fire.
Just like he pardoned the ex-Honduran president who was literally working with drug cartels. But, folks, I'm so glad you mentioned this. I don't think this should be kept out of the news, and I've been on it for a while, is these strikes, they were literally murdering people. Yeah. Extrajudicially, no evidence. And we have a Navy. You ever see Captain Phillips? I think it's kind of unintentionally hilarious. A very good movie. You have these 3 emaciated Somalis who took over the boat, right, in real life. I'm the captain now. They're like starving. And then I don't know if you saw the movie, but it's like an unintentional critique of U.S. imperialism and how we respond. This one boat in the movie is surrounded by 3 U.S. Navy ships, right? So always just remember, we have a Coast Guard. We have a Navy. They could have interdicted, right? They could have blown the mortars. They could have stopped them. All the normal stuff. They chose folks to blow them up. And now what we know is all the people that they killed, we still don't know. There's no evidence that they're drug traffickers. They didn't order even a single strike. They ordered a double strike. And the video, apparently there's a 41-minute video that is going to get Pete Hegseth completely screwed, because I don't know if you saw, but right now today he's trending because now he's not releasing that video. He's like, what? I said I'd release that video. Never mind. He said on December 3rd, I'll have no problem releasing the video. And now today he said, I didn't say that. He did. Yep. And now he's saying whatever Hegseth wants you to do is okay with that. That's talking about Donald Trump. So now Donald Trump is not going to release the video that he said he was going to release, because the video shows that two unarmed sailors hanging on for dear life for 41 minutes. And then they deliberated, the Trump administration, and then said, yeah, kill them all.
No, I didn't know this new detail.
Yeah, 41. So there's a video that Himes and others saw that says one of the most disturbing videos they saw, where apparently for 41 minutes, the Trump administration deliberated what to do with these survivors who survived from the first illegal strike. Pete Hegseth first said, yeah, kill them all. He said, yeah, or the double strike. Then he says, oh, shit, I messed up. No, it was Admiral Bradley. And now he said, I don't know if you saw last week, he goes, I gave the first order, but then I left the room. Fog of war. And Megyn Kelly, for those who haven't followed what Pete was saying, Megyn Kelly on her show went and said, I want to see them dismembered. Yep. I want to see limbs in the water. Bleed out. I want to see blood. And Greg Gutfeld, another failed comedian who failed up in life on Fox, said the same thing. I want to destroy these people. I want to see them maimed. Who wants to see this type of savagery? Who gets off on seeing this type of torture porn? MAGA. Cruelty. Same folks who are the cultural ancestors of the white supremacists who in the 20th century used to bring their family and kids and have picnics around hung and tortured black bodies in the United States of America, Pete.
You know, you could trace it back. It's a really important point. These people have always been with us, but the ideology spreads, and lies spread, and so much faster using social media today than then. And it's a really important point to talk about. I mean, I think right now, where do you think that we're at? Because I feel like there's a good amount of optimism that he is losing a tremendous amount of support. I mean, it sucks that he has to call American Somalis garbage for American Somalis who supported him to quit him, but they did, at least some, as well as losing support amongst other demographics that he gained. I'm not talking about what this means so much for the midterm elections. That's a billion years away, and we don't know if it's going to be free and fair and the gerrymandering and so on. But I do think, and it does matter to talk about and for people like us to discuss, that he's lost a tremendous amount of support amongst the American public, and he's lost entire support from our European partners, Canada, and the rest of our, quote, friends. And obviously he's gained support from the worst people in the world. But where do you think, and how are you characterizing the MAGA movement?
So we'll do good and bad. First, let's start with the bad, and then we'll start with the good. A desperate, cornered New York City rat will chew through anything and everyone to stay alive. No disrespect to New York City rats. That's what Donald Trump is. He's also dying before our eyes, Pete. This man is dying.
I was going to say
this
that.
This man literally cannot stay awake. He had 2 MRIs in 6 months. Can't tell you what part of his body he had an MRI on. Already had a physical. Went again to Walter Reed. We still don't know why. We've
Perfect.
Seen the
Both outcomes were perfection.
Yeah, it doesn't have the energy to do rallies anymore. Remember how many rallies he used to do? Doesn't do them. Tries to hide his palm, can't. So I think he's dying before our eyes. And as he's dying, you have 3 somewhat competing but aligned ideologies. You have the straight up white nationalism of Stephen Miller. He's dyed-in-the-wool white nationalist. This has been his wet dream since 9th grade. You have white Christian nationalists with Russell Vought, who is the co-author of Project 2025. And then you have the Broligarchy, which is Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and others, who are now furthermore aligned with eugenics and white supremacy. What combines all of them is desire for power, specifically white power, and greed. So they're drinking up all our milkshake. They've already passed the greatest wealth transfer in U.S. history, which is going to happen next year, the tax cuts for the billionaires. So that job is done. He's already dismantled the government through Doge, and they have all of our information. Palantir has billions of dollars of contracts, so they're building their surveillance state. They already have ICE, their American Gestapo. The billionaire Bill dismantles Medicaid and also gives $180 billion to ICE, which will now have the 17th largest military army force in the world, essentially. More private prisons. They have the mergers now. Let's see what happens with this hostile Paramount attempt to block Netflix and take over Warner Brothers. It's Larry Ellison. I think he'll probably help Larry Ellison get it done. So near consolidation of the media. And furthermore, the right wing, instead of expanding and reforming, they're doubling down because this is the death rattle of white supremacy transformed into a death march. They're playing for all the marbles. So to them, this is a zero-sum game. If you've been following all these people, the way they speak is like apocalyptic. Look at Elon Musk for the past 10 days. Every tweet, white rate, white birth rate, white birth rate, white birth rate, white population. They're replacing us, replacing us, replacing us. So they're not interested in the Democratic project. They're not interested in reform. And the scary part is I don't think they're interested in elections. My fear is as he keeps circling down the drain, they are setting up a ragstack fire moment for a martial law. And if you think I'm being crazy, you're not paying attention to Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi and Donald Trump. You know,
listen, just to be clear, everything you just said is something that Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker are saying. Two Democrats that are governors of big states with lots of people are saying exactly what you said about the potential midterm, the strategy. And I think it's not just Waj saying this.
No, good. No, but a lot of people thought we were crazy, right? But it's the Insurrection Act, which he's been asked, and he didn't say no. Will you implement it? He didn't say no. Pam Bondi talked about it. Stephen Miller has openly talked about it. Now they're going for birthright citizenship. Now they're going for denaturalization. They're going all in. And this shows you, going back full circle to the start of this conversation, what do they have left? Racism. He can't escape the sinking economy. He's negative double digits. He can't escape the Epstein files. He's negative 35 points. He can't escape his immigration policy. He's overreached. So what do they have left, Pete? You saw it in the past week. And then you saw Axios a couple of days ago. Even this is unpopular. Like going against the Somalis, like 65% of Americans are like, this is disgusting. They're doubling down on it because this is who they are. This is the end game. White nationalism, white supremacy. That's the end game. Now, the good news about this is he's lost the Latino voters. It's back to 2016 numbers. Young people have fled. It is remarkable. Have you seen the polls where it's been like just like a 50-plus point turnaround in less than a year? All these young people are like, F you, man. I thought you changed my life. Young people gone. Latinos gone. Some of the Asians and Muslims gone. He's lost some white folks. He's lost some MAGA. He can't afford to lose any MAGA, which means that if we do have these elections and these elections are free and fair, they're going to get their asses kicked. The one positive here is their gerrymander might be a dummy mander, meaning they might not be able to even overcome the gerrymander because Latinos themselves might be able to swing some of these districts in Texas, which is probably what Jasmine Crockett's doing. The reason why she ran, and I don't know if she'll win, it's Texas. I don't have any faith in Texas and Florida. But she's probably banking on, okay, it's going to get so bad in the next 2 years that the Republican gerrymander is going to turn into a dummy mander, and these Latinos and whites that they think are going to vote for them might actually switch for me. It's a big if. But I still think things are going to get far worse in the next 2 years with the economy. I think they're going to get far more violent. They're going to get far more white nationalist. And folks, if you don't follow this, they're openly talking about remigration, Pete. That's a Nazi term. They're like top down. This is not just the fringe.
Yeah.
Top down. Yep. So that's my take. What do you think?
Did you say the good news?
The good news is in the special elections, we're winning. The good news is white people are waking up with the No Kings rally. The good news is you're seeing Costco and some other companies finally flex and sue them on tariffs. The good news is the color that dominates in America even more than white is green. And at the end of the day, some of these people who are backing Trump want money. And if it seems like they're losing money, which they are, I think they're going to abandon him. You've seen people like Joe Rogan. You're seeing the ratings go down. You're seeing the brosphere go down a bit. You're seeing more and more people wake up. So the fact that more of us are awake and organized and angry, that's the good news. But what I'm warning people is it's not going to be a switch. I don't think it's going to be like, midterms and we're going to be back. I think this is generational damage.
Yeah, there's no doubt that there's generational damage for all kinds of on different metrics, and so on. I'm still pretty optimistic about how things can change and be repaired slowly, but I don't think there's any guarantees. One thing I think is interesting and I wanted to get your take on is how things are changing in terms of the Overton window and what it might mean if Democrats run a true progressive, that whether they call themselves a democratic socialist or not, they run in a similar way that Mamdani did. And what I mean, why it could be very interesting is I think all these weak bro podcasters from Rogan to Andrew Schultz to Tim Dillon and all of the rest, Theo Vaughn, they could absolutely get behind the right Democrat who's a good communicator and who talks about affordability. I think those kinds of guys were a game changer in 24. I think they could be again. I think that matters a lot in congressional races as well. I mean, Mamdani, yeah, he's a once in a generation talent, but people saw how that worked and what he did, and I think they'll try to copy him in a lot of different ways in terms of their rhetoric, much less their policies. And I think that matters a lot. I think that guy and what he's done is going to matter a lot also simply because he's going to govern, whether or not he can do anything as in terms of accomplishing his agenda, doesn't matter as much to me as New York City doesn't go out of business and become a communist hellscape that they've always described. I feel like that always matters. It mattered when Obama won. He didn't take your guns. He wasn't a socialist. And so I feel like there's a lane for progressives at the presidential level and maybe even someone like Jasmine Crockett, though I just have a hard time thinking how a woman, much less a black woman, could win in Texas when even, Beto O'Rourke, a white man, had a hard time. But regardless, I've been on the Crockett train since she was a Texas state congressperson. So
she's a fighter. Listen, this is the problem with the Democratic Party, and this is the come to Jesus moment for them.
Oh dear.
If you have seen the Democratic establishment, Donald Trump embraced Mamdani before Chuck Schumer and Gillibrand and Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think that's going to change, though. It's a great point, though.
And they threw everything and the kitchen sink and a Bill Clinton against Mamdani.
That's right. Ew. And Bill Clinton to come out and support an alleged accuser of who've been accused by a dozen women, Bill Clinton's endorsement of Andrew Cuomo was like so, I don't know, lack of self-awareness is the kindest I could possibly.
It just shows you how afraid they are of what he allegedly represents. And furthermore, the Islamophobia that has been mainstream now openly, this is this, folks, I've been following this for 24 years. It's the worst I've ever seen it. Because at least back then, the policies were terrible. All those folks, the neocons, should be in prison for war crimes. But at least performatively, they never said this stuff. If George W. Bush ran in 2025, he'd be destroyed by Republicans for being a Muslim lover. This type of blatant Islamophobia was kind of the road was paved in the last 2 months by the Democratic establishment and the right wing with what they did against Mamdani, what they were allowed to get away with, where he had to condemn chants he had never used. They equated him to Hamas. They equated him to the 9/11 terrorists. All brown Muslim people. It's like this. Arabs, Palestinians, Muslims, brown people, you're all the same. Al-Qaeda, ISIS extremists. That's what it is. And you saw Mamdani win despite that. So, Pete, I think this is, I've said this, we haven't talked in a while. I think seeing Mamdani and seeing these special elections, this is what I think. I believe a Democrat who really wants to win in 2 or 3 years, right? It's going to be a long time. You cannot be sucking at the teat of the broligarchy. You have to embrace the anti-broligarchy message, number one. Number two, you cannot be sucking at the teat of Netanyahu and AIPAC. This is an entire generation radicalized in real time by genocide. And you've seen all the polls. The Democratic base has completely moved. So has a part of the Republican base. Three, you cannot go do the old school, we're going to throw the woke under the bus act. You can't throw immigrants under the bus. You can't throw LGBT under the bus. You can't throw young people under the bus. You can't throw black people under the bus. Mamdani had a core message of affordability, us versus them, the majority versus the 1%, bottom versus top. I don't believe in billionaires, but I'll work with them. And America has to be affordable for everybody. He went and talked to undocumented immigrants. He went to a gay club. He stood in front of a mosque. And he leaned into what made America great, much like Obama, because he could not ignore his race, because race was made into a politicized issue and a weapon against him. So he leaned in, just like Obama did. Now, the reason why I think that they won't do it is they're unwilling to stop sucking at the teat of the oligarchy. If you don't believe me, look at Gavin Newsom. Just 2 days ago, he was asked about the billionaires. He goes, "It's a big club." When asked about Israel, did you see that in the notebook?
I didn't see this, but I'm looking. I did not see any of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the Notebook interview, he was like, "What about taxing the billionaires?" He goes, "Well, what's a big club?" When it comes to Israel, the smoothest talkers, Gavin Newsom, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, have nothing to say. And then earlier this week, I don't know if you saw Hillary Clinton. Did you see this? Hillary Clinton gets invited by Sheldon Adelson's widow, Miriam Adelson, who has given $600 million to Donald Trump, gave $100 million to Republicans to try to control the House. Miriam Adelson every year has this pro-Israel, conference. Had it in New York for the first time. The world's worst people come. And guess who also accepted the invite? Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton there for Miriam Adelson, who literally is one of the worst people, who has given hundreds of millions of dollars to Donald Trump and Republicans, said the young people, they got radicalized and they're misled by the TikTok and the social media. And then when Hillary Clinton was invited to the Doha Forum a couple of days ago, she doubled down on it. Now you tell me, Pete, with the Democratic establishment of voices like Gavin Newsom and Chuck Schumer and Hillary Clinton saying this, do you have faith in them winning over the disaffected majority in 2028? I don't.
I have faith in that they're on their way out. Their influence has waned a tremendous amount, pretty much everybody you said. And while you'll have a Gavin Newsom running, either he'll see the way the wind is blowing, or you'll also have a Bernie Sanders-like progressive running. And Bernie is what I think is the argument that matters because of how popular he was in 16, again in 20.
Yep.
And I think that if you have somebody basically who shares his politics, his agenda, which is a lot of progressives, I think that establishment influence will not matter because I think they'll be able to harness that energy, especially if they're a charismatic person. That's what matters the most for the American electorate. That's what I think. But
look, Zoran, I interviewed him almost a year ago when he was a distant number 2. I was very impressed by him. He was authentic. He was a great messenger. His main message was affordability. He stood on that message. He went 10 toes down on his beliefs. He stood for something and fought for something. He did not waver when it came to Palestine. He did not waver when it came to immigrants, right? Mm-hmm. What did Gavin Newsom do? As soon as Trump was elected, he had his own podcast. He invited who? Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And so I think if they go for a Gavin Newsom type, an establishment type, this is what my fear is. And I wanted your thoughts on this. I see a stopgap measure in 2028 where the wind is blowing, meaning people are so sick and tired of Republicans. Inshallah, if we have free and fair elections, you got a Democrat. Yeah. But you don't get the type of Democrat who is calling and fighting for generational reform. You get a stopgap restoration Democrat like Gavin Newsom. And then what's going to happen in 2032, my fear is we get our first Nazi president.
Yeah, you and your friend Francesca Fiorini agree on that idea for sure. I don't know. It's a long way away, and I feel like Gavin Newsom is peaking a bit early. He certainly is charismatic and a fighter. I think people want that, but I agree with your and her analysis of his politics and where he lands. I know I've had you for 30 minutes, and I love you, and I adore you, and I hate to say goodbye, but I know you've done so many interviews alone today. You're very busy. You're talking to all the people.
This is Pete's way of saying Pete has to go to the bathroom. And
I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go anywhere. I'll talk to you for another hour. I wanted to ask you 2 more questions if you have time.
Go for it.
Well, one is you have been doing really good work, and I love following, subscribed to your Substack because I get noticed every time you're live, and I want to be like you someday with this massive following. Part of it, which is the best thing about how well you're doing, I guess, which is a credit to and a testament to your work, your ideology, your ability. I think, especially speaking of charisma outside of your face and you're being a Muslim, I think you're very likable and funny. But I think that it gives you this access to some of the best people. And so my question is, tell me not who your favorite new person that you've talked to, but because you've been talking to this wide range of experts on your Substack and elsewhere, tell me somebody who you like. Who should we go listen to?
Pete Dominic. You should listen to Pete Dominic. Pete Dominic, in addition to your Venmo, check your Venmo. I sent you the money. Pete is a good guy who was at Sirius XM. And I remember when he had a live show, he used to invite me. And then we came on, I think, live one time in the Trump first administration. And then you were shocked that I was not as hideous in person. And then you gave me a compliment. You're like, "You're a handsome guy." I'm like, "I married Pete." And you're like, "All right." And you're like, and you started touching me. And I'm like, "Pete, please." And I said, and you said, "All right, sorry." And then we talked about,
you were so good looking. You were so good looking that I did that creepy thing where you go and look up when you see a good looking guy, you go up and look to see if his wife is as or more attractive, because it's never going to be less.
She's more attractive.
And she's a very attractive woman, but she's also a very successful physician and so on. I don't mean to minimize and objectify.
She's like a kind person too, so she tolerates me. So Pete, you use his platform to bring on all these progressive voices, and also, unlike these other people, he's actually a successful comedian. Can you tell people, you used to open for Colbert every night, right?
Oh, I've had some success. Waj. Colbert, Jon Stewart hired me at The Daily Show, and then Stephen Colbert took me, and then I went to John Oliver. I've worked with all those guys. But, I think what I'm more proud of than anything that I've done as a comedian and so on, and even here, I love getting to interview experts, which what I do every day on my show. It's daily. Is the local activism I've done with the Board of Education and local
there you go.
politics.
I was gonna get there.
And I feel like I always like to talk about that only because I want to inspire people to get involved locally. It's the most important impact you can have no matter who you are. And so to me, that's what I always like to say that I'm certainly most proud of. I never expected to be that guy, but well, maybe I did. I don't know. But either way.
And also a good dad who talks about vulnerability and gathers together all these men to make sure they're not falling into the toxic brosphere. And that you can be a straight man married to a woman and or loves women and has kids and isn't a complete misogynist and a freak. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. I was thinking about it, Pete, the way the world works. If I recall, I think I first emailed you for advice because I had a Rolodex of like 80 folks that I wanted to talk to who I respect because I was being boycotted left and right. I saw where the corporate media was going and I was trying to figure out what to do next. And then you gave me some really good advice, which I always appreciated. And then you called me one day. You're like, "What the F, man? My dream job is SiriusXM," and they just let me go. So I gave you some of my advice, and then you and me, ever since then, we're just independent hustlers. And now you're asking me for advice, which is amusing because about a year ago I started the Left Hook, and my wife was like, "Man, we got 3 kids. You've been in this game. You've been at the top of this game, and yet they'll never give you the flowers, if you will. They'll never give you that type of status because I think you might be too blunt, too brown, too Muslim, and you don't engage in this whitewashing." And so, it was a struggle, which is fine. We're much better off than most people. And so we started this Left Hook Substack. I thought, Pete, if I got 10,000 people, I could call it a day. But for whatever reason, sometimes you just hit how you hit a tipping point? And I feel, knock on wood, like the last month has been a really great tipping point where all the work is paying off and like the communities are merging. And so I feel like, if I could do this, and who am I? I'm nobody. Then a guy like you who's been in the game longer than us, you should be thriving. So I'm glad that you're on Substack now, and now you're finally crossed over into YouTube. And if all these terrible people can get paid so much for such shitty opinions, that's why I always tell Danielle, my co-host, we work hard, we try to be good people, and we're not greedy. So if all the worst people on earth are getting millions, why can't we do okay and help each other out? So that's where I'm at. Right now. How about you? What do you think?
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think that the best thing we could do is continue to promote each other's work, but I'm a little uneasy with some progressives on Substack. I'll tell you their names after, and a lot of other people in progressive media, because I think they're too concerned with the following and the clicks. We all are. That's how we have to make money. We have to get followers. We have to get paid subscribers, turn them into paid subscribers. That's the whole deal. It's also the best way to make a living, more pure, I think, with integrity, because you're not accepting necessarily money from ads and all the other places. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, but I feel uneasy with some of the way that they do things, just to be a little bit more vague. And I feel like it's important.
Well, how so? Without naming them, what do they do? I'm just curious.
There's a way that they talk and promote their work that is very clickbaity, and the way that they position some of their opinions as well, that I feel like is disingenuous, to be kind. And I just think to me, I get not envious or jealous of people that are that have kind of surpassed me because I've been in this game for so long, and yet some guy just started, or even woman just started a few years ago, and they've got a bigger following and so on. Because I feel like we as a public should be supporting the people, the journalists, the creators with the most credibility. And I think credibility in this day and age is hard to measure, but I have a kind of a formula for it myself. But credibility is your reputation. Your reputation is your currency, and how you live your life and how you conduct your work and who you're talking to and what you're talking about and where you are and like all that matters. And to me, I watch people, and if they're not being the change that they want to see, I see it and I don't support it. I don't like it. And I'm out here doing all the things I think that we need to do in all the different ways that I can. Things I don't necessarily talk about, but like, because touting them would be, disingenuous to me. But that's what some of these people are not afraid to do. And I just feel like they're not doing the work. And I feel like they're really trying to get subscribers and clicks in ways that I find. I think that taking other people's content and not crediting it is disgusting. And I think a lot of people with huge followings are doing that, for example. There's more. But that's my thought.
Yeah, there's also the Lizzas of the world and the Nutsis of the world. But we can just do, my take on this is I'm going to be me. I'm going to do it my way. And the Muslim in me is like, whatever is meant to come to me is going to come to me. That's why I don't get into envy and jealousy either. I see what they're doing. But, this stuff doesn't last. Eventually, you get a short-term burst. And even if you do succeed, at what cost? And totally random, because right before I came on, I was just seeing why Brendan Fraser was trending. And he was trending because he's in an interview, I think Hollywood Reporter Variety does these actors on actors showcases where they interview each other. So Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is interviewing him. And Dwayne Johnson says, I've never said this to you in person, but like years ago, I got my break because, you were in the Mummy franchise and they pitched me to be the Scorpion King. And you, instead of saying no, you welcomed me. And I just want to tell you that jump-started my career. And Brendan Fraser has gone through so much hell. I grew up with that guy. I watched him in Encino Man and, School Ties. But if you haven't followed his career, this guy was at the top of his game. Then he had multiple injuries. His mom died. He got a divorce. He gained weight. People forgot about him, right? He was a victim of like sexual assault. He was blacklisted. And now he's coming back. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is no one says anything bad about Brendan Fraser as a man and as an actor, right? Everyone said, man, he's fantastic castmate, good guy, professional. And he went through all that hell, right, Pete? But look at the long arc of life. Yeah. All these people are saying, Brendan Fraser, good guy. And he gets, he wins in the long run. And he doesn't give up his character. So for a guy like me and a guy like you, I saw this also. I was talking to Mehdi, Mehdi and I talk about this and other Muslims talk about this. We know what we can sell in order to make money. I know the narrative I can sell. I can get, I'll be on Fox News tomorrow. They'll give me a 7-figure salary if I spoke like a certain narrative, right? But then I sell myself. What's the point? I have to look at myself in the mirror. Yeah. So I feel like people like us, will be last for a while in the race. We'll be maybe 8 or 10. It's not even a race for me. But we're going to go for the long run. And along the journey, we won't sacrifice our morals, our integrity, our ethics. And the people who love us will love us who we are. And I don't need 8 billion people. I don't need all the views. If I have the money of Joe Rogan, but I become a Joe Rogan, what's the point? I have to meet my creator, one of these days. My children have to think about me. Yeah. I have to, when my time is up and I'm reflecting on my life, I'm like, look how much damage I did. So I think guys like us, we walk our path, and inshallah, things are changing, Pete. And I feel like what I've seen, the positive news is, all the people who used to dismiss people like you and me, all the people who thought we were like reactionary or crazy, all the people who said, get on the Joe Rogan train and the manosphere train and throw the woke under the bus. I see those people waking up and saying, oh, these folks, Danielle, Francesca, Pete, Waj, I hope in our own way. Oh, they were on it. They're consistent. They're sincere. I might disagree with them, but they're authentic and they're fighting the good fight. Let me support them. So that's my response to you.
I love that. And I appreciate it. And I, simple way for me is there's one person I couldn't let down, and it's the person who made me, my big brother. And my big brother has been a radical our whole life. He was an anarchist, a leftist, radicalized by Noam Chomsky as a teenager, I think. He is the most original guy, and he's never wanted to do any harm to anyone. And if I sold out, I have like not sold out, but had opinions that, you know, he vehemently disagreed with, and we've had a lot of issues over it and so on over the years. But like to let someone, to him down, to not be the change I want to see as much as I can be, is letting myself down. I could never be one of those people, and never wanted. Money also doesn't really motivate me as much as it does other people. So
yeah, we're terrible capitalists, sadly. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, promotion and marketing and so on. But anyway, we're doing our best, and most of the people here watching us live, I think, are probably subscribers of yours. So come over to @StandUpWithPete, because I do a daily podcast with a full recap every day on the news, and that's really hard to produce. So please, and it's something different. And I talk to one smart person every day at least, and Waj is doing amazing work talking to so many people, some of which I've not heard of, and I'm discovering through your work. So let's keep doing it together. I love talking to you. You're a great friend to me.
I just shared, I'm on the Substacks right now. We have 1,400 people watching. So I just gave a link to Pete's Substack. Subscribe to his Substack and his daily podcast. For the Left Hook, everything is free, as you all know. There's no paywalls ever. So if you have a few dollars, go become a paid subscriber to Pete and become his Patreon subscriber. And I have, since I'm a terrible capitalist, 25% off, and everything's free. But that just, if any free subscribers want to help us, $3.80
Come on,
a month. $3.80 a month.
If you're a free subscriber, become a paid subscriber to Waj right now. It's very little, and it's that time of year, and your Muslim kids probably want Christmas presents.
That's right. I'm raising them as really good American capitalists.
Were you? And by the way,
they're sweet.
One more thing, and I don't know where you're at with this. I find a lot of people, I was talking to Francesca about this and other people, they're not like fully, I do these Zoom hangouts every week, and it's created a community of people. It's awesome. I think I'm uniquely good at it as a comic and a host, and I have no boundaries with people, but I highly encourage people to subscribe to my Patreon. Then you get the Zoom link, and others as well, other people's as well, but I do these hangouts every Thursday night at 8 p.m. and sometimes more, and it's created a community. I never expected to do that, but amazing people here on Earth One that become friends, that are supported. We get live events, and it's a wonderful benefit, and we do it every week and have been since the pandemic, and I don't know how to promote that. I
wanted to ask you about that, because I've been a guest on your Zoom things twice. I was impressed, man. These are like really smart, educated, diverse people all around the country, different age groups who like join up and like listen to you. And I was thinking about like maybe I should offer that to the paid subscribers of Left Hook, but I'll make it free.
You should. You know what? We should do something one night. We should talk about this out there. It might be boring for people to watch, but like tell people to come to my hangout and then take everybody, you know, see what we're doing. And it just, like, to me, the most important thing we can do to beat fascism and authoritarianism is accept where we are, be real about where we are, and realize it's never going back. It's a hard thing to say, much less hear. It's never going back to how it was when we were growing up. Nothing is. So in the midst of it, do what previous generations who were dealing with and living in authoritarian states have done, and read Viktor Frankl, and understand that the thing you can do is connect with other people, advocate for other people, as we're seeing people do in cities across the country. And that's what I'm doing. I'm connecting. We're trying to protect marginalized communities and individuals and families and each other, help each other through the suffering, which is an inevitable part of life. And that's what we can do. And it feels so good to be a part of that and to connect with people that way. And I wasn't expecting to do that, but that's the world we live in, and that's what's happened. So,
well, in the Substack right now, what people are saying is community. That what you basically describe as community. And people feel fractured, they feel disenfranchised, they feel isolated and alone. And I think the power of community is, you say, oh, you're not alone. That's the power of seeing the visibility brigade in like these red counties where 12 people are having a great time holding up posters. And they're like, oh, I thought I was the only one against Trump's hateful agenda. There's 12 others. Oh, and, you know, loneliness is a killer, folks. And, you know, organizing on the grassroots is how Mamdani won. Organizing the grassroots is how we had the civil rights movement. Organizing the grassroots is how women got the right to vote. And this is going to require 10 toes down, grassroots, community by community, ground up, not top down, ground up type of community activism for us to, inshallah, not just reform, this country, but for us to also restore our spirits and our health. So a lot of people are interested. Pete, before you go, shamelessly, people are asking, where can they join your Zoom?
So,
how do they? Give us links, man.
If you become a free Patreon subscriber right now, patreon.com/Pete Dominic, you could come to Thursday nights. I'll make it free. Thursday night at 8.
I just did it. I posted it.
Thursday night thank you so much, at 8 p.m., wherever time zone you are. Come and see what we do. I promise you, you will like it. And Waj, maybe you could stop by to make it fun and funnier. We talk about everything. Sometimes I am there for 3 hours some Thursday nights. We drink if you drink. We laugh a lot. We share all these ideas that you're talking about in ways and solutions to protect each other, to resist, and to build community. And we laugh a lot. It's wonderful. I mean, it's just a wonderful, amazing group of people who come from all over the country to Zoom. We started doing it during the pandemic, during lockdown. I was like, we're all alone and scared and have no idea what's going on. And it accidentally created this community. We're not massive, but we usually get like 50, 80 people, but we could get hundreds on Thursday night thanks to you. So patreon.com.
I've had fun, and it always gives me excuse to look at Pete's shiny bald head.
Yes.
Which if I ever go bald, which I think I am, my fear is my head will not be as spherically, symmetrically shaped as Pete's.
You'll be fine. A lot of the Zooms I do wear a hat though. So.
No, but then I can't do it. I that's my fetish. I need like some people like feet. I like Pete's bald head. That's just how it is.
Final question, and thank you for all the kind words and promotion. And I hope people will stop by on Thursday night. Just join for free. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic. When you were a Muslim American, you were born and raised in California. What did Christmas look like and feel like? Is it like my Jewish friends that some of them were jealous, some of them thought it was silly and had their own stuff? And how are you raising your own kids? Do you have any Christmas lights out or any Christmas decorations? I know Jewish people who just love the tree. What was it like for you growing up? What are you doing for your kids?
All right, let me put it this way. I asked my mom one day when I was a kid. I said, Mama, I lost my tooth. Is the tooth fairy coming? And my mom's like, this is nonsense that Americans teach their children. You lost your tooth. All right. I asked my parents, Mama, Baba, Abu, Ammi, is Santa Claus coming and giving me a present? He goes, Santa Claus is not real. This is bullshit. And Christians believe in this. We are Muslim. You have Eid. Eat some food. So I never felt, but the funny thing is I never felt any like loss. I always enjoyed Christmas because you had the cartoons and the festivity and the lights and the sales. So I thought it was fun, as a kid. And we used to like learn the jingles in school. My kids haven't felt the loss of it. I think my kids last year for the first time, like, should we have a tree in the house? And my parents kind of like, whatever, man, we're not Christian. Why the F we have a tree? I know some Muslims, very practicing Muslims, it's become very cultural for them, like Halloween and Thanksgiving. So they don't celebrate Christmas, but they're like, everyone has a tree out, everyone has lights out, we'll do it. Presents, why not? But I think we're kind of more old school. Like, people always joke, how they say fresh off the boat? My parents brought the boat inside the home. They didn't give any F about like assimilation. They named me Wajahat. They're like, he'll learn. They didn't even teach me English, Pete. Even though I was born and raised here. They're like, he'll learn eventually. And then when it came to Thanksgiving, my mother rebelled against the turkey because she's like, who likes this dry-ass bird? And then one day, I remember it was 25 years ago, my father finally decided to tackle the turkey. He goes, I will make the turkey. And like my mom's like, no, I'm going to make my chicken. It's going to be flavorful. I don't understand why these white Americans like this dry bird. And my dad's like, you will see. I will deep fry the turkey. And he did his research and he deep fried the turkey and he put spice in it. It was pretty good. But my mom made her chicken. So my kids don't care. We give them love. They get so many toys anyway. And my thing is fine. Maybe I'll do some lights for you if you care. Maybe I'll do a tree if you care, but they don't really care.
Can I just try to sell one thing and just push back and then I'll let you go, which is, don't you think you're depriving your kids of that feeling that overnight a magical person comes and delivers all these presents? And one of the great things is the stockings. The stockings also are filled with stuff. And I used to go down in the middle of the night and look at it all. Don't you think that your kids should be able to go to bed one night and wake up with all these prizes? Can't you adapt this somehow? And
they're so spoiled by me, sadly, that literally after we talk, I promised my daughter I'd get her a Labubu doll. And my wife looks at me, she goes, why? And she says, but I promised her. And she goes, so? You could say no, but I said, I promised her. So, they're like, my wife just looks at me and she goes, what's wrong with you? Like a child. So they already get so many toys from me that they don't care. Like
it's different. I'm telling you, that overnight, they wake up and they're all there. You know what? Let's just do it. I'm just going to show up on Christmas morning at your house with a sack of toys for your kids and say, the white elf is here. I'll wear elf ears maybe. We'll make up a whole thing. You can call me something, and then I'll do it every year. It'll be your money and presents.
My son will call 911 and goes, Baba, there's a white MAGA here with a gun. Get him. They finally found our house. He wants to kidnap us.
I'm not going to have a gun. I'm going to have just a sack of
like
toys.
A burlap sack. He's like, he's going to go for Khadija. Run.
Wearing Carhartt. I don't know why it's so threatening.
It's a good, you know what? I might, let's see. But now they're old. They don't care. Yeah. I do think though, it is really, I think there's some wonderful traditions about it. And like, I do think if, let me put it this way. As a Muslim, I went to an all boys Jesuit Catholic high school. If MAGA in particular and white Christian nationalists could lean into Jesus during Christmas, America would be a lovely place if they could lean into Jesus.
Well said. And you've talked to John. Fugelsang.
And his book is great. Separation of Church and Hate. So I got to run.
Bye.
We got 1,500 people watching on Substack. All of my subscribers subscribe to Stand Up with Pete. Good guy. Every day he has a really smart, progressive voice, in-depth interviews. His Rolodex is even bigger than mine. And he has this great community that he's offering to you for free. And if you give him enough money and compliments, he will shine his head while live streaming. He makes it really oily. It's really attractive to watch.
And for both my subscribers, go subscribe to The Left Hook. Waj is the greatest. If you didn't already know, you're always the greatest. Have a great night. Thanks to everybody watching live, and good night. See you.
I gotta go spend $30 on this freaking Labubu for my daughter. But
enjoy every second with her. Bye, bud. There you go. Wajahat Ali. WajAli.com. The Left Hook Substack. Go get his book. Go let him know you heard him here. And thank you very much for all of his listeners and readers who joined me here as a result of that conversation. Great to have you here. Subscribe to the Substack and the YouTube and give ratings and reviews of this podcast, Spotify and Apple particularly. All right, that's it. That's all I've got. Go be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you very much for being here, for being you. John Carroll writes and performs all the music. He's a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter. Go buy his album, johncarroll.org. Bye-bye.
Keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. You got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense and you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town, just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. She's the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of a stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to experiment if you stand up. All right, we got to speak up, we got to reach up and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run